Stephanie Bain, I have a books. I'm a book nerd. There's so many books. Hello everyone, Stephanie here. Today's video is going to be, I'm sorry, another book tag. I literally have no idea what to do. I'm leaving for Texas tomorrow. I'm not gonna have a video up on Monday, so I'm sorry. I'm thinking of vlogging parts of my trip and do like a little of all of the days. And I was like, oh, I should probably film something. And I still have like things, well, I'm already like packed, but I need to like clean myself. I need to clean my fish tank before I go. So I'm sorry, I'm doing another Halloween related book tag. And this is the Monster Mash book tag. I haven't even selected the books. I don't know what the questions are. We're gonna roll with it right now, okay? Question number 1 is, I was working in the lab late one night. What's a book that kept you up at night? Kept me up creepy-wise or kept me up because I couldn't stop reading it? I'm going to go with kept me up because I couldn't stop reading it. These answers shouldn't be surprising because both of these books I literally could not go to sleep until I finished it. They're creepy, but not like, oh my god, absolutely terrifying, but they do creep me out. Okay, so of course The Merciless by Daniel Vega and Survive the Night. These are just such addicting reads to me. I couldn't put them down and I had to keep reading them. I really did. No exaggerations. Number 2 is My Eyes Beheld an Eerie Sight. What is the weirdest or creepiest shit you've ever read in a book? That would be anything from I, the Creation of a Serial Killer, especially the parts where the man, this is actually true, it's about the smiley face killer who was he was a truck driver and he killed, I want to say it was somewhere between like 8 or 9 women that they know for like a fact, one of them including was like his fiance, but he claims he killed a lot more. Honestly, I'm gonna put my hand up, so if you don't want to hear it, you can just mute until my hand goes down, but this is also a slight spoiler alert, but not really, because it's an actual thing. You can just Google it. There's a part in the book where he's talking about like he was killing a woman, but he had to kind of like hurry up. And so, you know how those big semi trucks had those flaps on the sides, like where the tires are? I think it's to prevent air from going through. After killing the woman, he couldn't dispose of her body. I don't even remember if she was completely dead at that point, if I'm being completely honest. But he tied her up beneath there because she wouldn't be seen. And he drove like 80, 90 miles per hour with her there. And little by little parts of her body were falling off. And he was talking about that. And everything he talks about, because he goes into detail about the women he kills. That was absolutely horrifying. Welcome back. No. 3 is Get a Jolt from My Electrodes. Name a book that completely shocked or surprised you. I'm trying to go scary wise, but I don't know if I have a scary book. We Know It Was You by Maggie Thrash. This surprised me. It didn't shock me, but it surprised me not only in the direction it goes in, but how well Maggie implemented what happens into the book. And it's just so like, that works. It works. Any other person would have done what she did and it wouldn't have felt so like real, but it surprised the crap out of me. And this is actually a great Halloween read too. It's a mystery, but it's quirky and it's just really good. 4 is The Guest included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. Name your favorite monster or villain from a book. He's not a monster or a villain, but he's definitely not like the great guy. And I'm going to include Dexter, because if you don't know what Dexter's about, it's about a serial killer, and Dexter's a serial killer. But I promise you, he's only serial killer you'll ever love. But he technically is a monster. He's a villain. He's, you know, the anti-hero. Is that how they call it? I don't know. I adore the show, especially. I think is a little bit better than the book. I've only read the first book. Still really good though. Based in Miami. So they talk about places that I like go to. So it's like kind of cool. And medianoches. Those are some tasty ass sandwiches. But I think honestly, he's amazing. Number 5. What happened to my Transylvania twist? Name a book that was super hyped when it came out, but no one talks about anymore. Everyone always talks about Red Queen, and I feel like Red Queen was like really hyped, and I feel like with Glass Sword, it's not as hyped. So I'm gonna have to say the Red Queen trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. I adored the second book more than the first book, but I've noticed that not many people were talking about the second book. Like, you see it, but it's not one of those books that continuously gets talked about. It stops getting talked about. Number 6, They Did the Mash. Name your favorite book that is a mashup of 2 or more genres. Shit. I should have been prepared. And that's gonna be The Alpha Drive by Kristen Martin. It's a sci-fi with dystopian and sometimes contemporary elements to it. It's honestly my favorite like mix-up of genres. It's so easy and so much fun to get into. Next is 7, It Was a Graveyard Mash. What is your favorite horror novel? This is tricky. I haven't read a whole lot of horror novels. I read more mystery, thrillers. But I want to say the only ones that I have, the repeats for like the millionth time. Let's see if I can find another thing, but I don't think I have. Like, I'll tell you my favorite horror movie, and that would be any and all of the Freddy Krueger movies except for the remake, because the guy that plays Freddy Krueger in the remake was in this other movie, Little Children, and what he does in that movie just like tortured me, and I hate the actor for it because that's all I see when I see that actor. Freddy Krueger is amazing. He's the only one that makes sense. I grew up, I was like super young watching him. I promise you those are my absolute favorite movies. But a book that I would like to read that's horror, because, you know, I gotta mention a book, would be It. It doesn't have the slipcover. It's a beast of a book. I tried reading it, but I just wasn't feeling it at the time. This movie made me terrified of clowns, and is probably the only horror movie I never watched more than 1,000,000 times. I probably only saw this movie less than a handful because of how much it creeped me out. I hated Pennywise when I was a child. And I love scary movies. Like, my parents let me watch all that stuff. I was like 4 or 5 years old. Can I watch this? I like Silence of the Lambs was my favorite movie when I was like 6 years old. I'll tell you my favorite horror movie, and that would be any and all of the Freddy Krueger movies except for the remake, because the guy that plays Freddy Krueger in the remake was in this other movie, Little Children, and what he does in that movie just like tortured me, and I hate the actor for it because that's all I see when I see that actor. Freddy Krueger is amazing. He's the only one that makes sense. I grew up, I was like super young watching him. I promise you those are my absolute favorite movies. But a book that I would like to read that's horror, because, you know, I gotta mention a book, would be It. It doesn't have the slipcover. It's a beast of a book. I tried reading it, but I just wasn't feeling it at the time. This movie made me terrified of clowns, and is probably the only horror movie I never watched more than 1,000,000 times. I probably only saw this movie less than a handful because of how much it creeped me out. I hated Pennywise when I was a child. And I love scary movies. Like, my parents let me watch all that stuff. I was like 4 or 5 years old. Can I watch this? I like Silence of the Lambs was my favorite movie when I was like 6 years old. Okay, where the hell was I? Oh, number 8 is The Scene Was Rockin'. All We're Digging the Sounds. What's your favorite song based on a book? I don't have any songs based on books. I don't get that question. I'm stupid. Is it weird that I'm like really confused right now? I probably should have watched the video again to see what her answer was. I don't know. Let's pretend. But next. Number 9 is Tell Them Boris Sent You. What is your go-to book recommendation? You know what? For Halloween, I'm not going to lie. I'll scream it from the rooftops. I have a couple, so let me just go ahead. I've mentioned these about 1,000,000 times just in this video and the last video. Very good, underrated YA horror books. So good. But one for young readers, totally underrated. That I would recommend, I might have mentioned this in my fall recommendation, is Bad Girls Don't Die by Katie Allender. This is, I think, good for like any age for me. I just enjoyed it. I could see where it will get creepy if you're much younger, but if you're a young teen, preteen, and you want to read like a creepy book, read this book. It's underrated. It's actually very good. The character is very likable. The situation is really good, and I just overall enjoy it. So this would be my go-to for younger readers, and these are my go-to for older, and you haven't read them. What the hell are you doing with your life? Ugh. Those are other books that no one talks about anymore. I was gonna say those, but like I'm mentioning them for everything. Number number 10 is, who do you tag? I tag all of you. Answer the questions down below. If you like me, you'll answer, because I kind of want to know. And that's what I'm posting today. I'm sorry, it's another book tag. I tried my hardest to like think of something else to film, and I thought of nothing. So I'll see you guys next time. I hope you enjoy this. Questions down below. You don't even have to do all of them, just like 1 or 2. Just let me know, comment, and I'll see you probably on Wednesday's video, because I'm not gonna have time to film, edit, and upload a video for Monday either. Especially because I don't know what I'm doing with my life. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye!